Sometimes satisfaction and fun does not exist in the commercial video game industry. Where does one go to find entertainment when the likes of Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft simply cannot fathom the process? Some say it lies in reading a book or going outside and chronicling the very nature of this world we live in. Me? I go on the internet. And doing so has reminded me that big names like the major three are not the only companies that can make good games. There's also the indie crowd. With the likes of Steam, Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, and WiiWare, indie games in today's world have exploded in popularity. Not just because a lot of them harken back to the days when video games were incredibly simple to pick up and play, but a lot of them are also pretty cheap too. So for the next few reviews, we're going to be taking a look at some of them. Today's subject is Braid. Developed by Jonathan Blow, who himself invested about $200,000 into the game from his own pocket. God damn, that's a hefty investment for something you're not even sure is going to succeed or not. Well, long story short, it did. Braid won, or was at least nominated for numerous awards upon its release, and it's one of the most critically acclaimed indie games of all time. Well, I've at least heard of this game, but until this series of videos, I never considered playing it until I got a few recommendations from some friends of mine. So, one online transaction later, and I have the game for my PlayStation 3. I prefer the DualShock controller for 2D games, it's very comfortable to me. It only took me a few hours to beat the game, but when playing an indie title, I'm not expecting something epic or grand, just something I can sink my teeth into when I'm feeling experimental. Now, I know I usually begin these reviews with a plot summary, but, well, Before you begin each world, there's these books splashed about that give us information on our hero named Tim. The sweet and short version is that Tim is looking for the princess to rescue, something very similar to the likes of Super Mario Bros. However, the more of the books you read, the more things begin to get a little more, how should I say, complex. Just who is Tim exactly? Who is the princess? Why was she taken to begin with? What is this place? These are questions that entered my head when I began playing, and unfortunately, almost all of those questions remained unanswered when I finished. Braid's story is loaded with symbolism. Any more of it and it would fucking explode like an atomic bomb. Look, Braid's overall narrative is very much one of those deep, open to interpretation kind of stories, and from my perspective, I don't play video games for that kind of thing. I firmly believe that a video game can be a work of art, but Braid is just a little too incomprehensible to me to be considered good or likable. Maybe that was the point, but that's still a negative in my book, so sorry, Mr. Blow. With the story aside, however, what kind of game is Braid anyway? From a moment's glance, it looks to be like your run-of-the-mill 2D platformer, and for the most part it is, but there's more to it than that makes it stand out. Tim can jump, manipulate objects, boop enemies in the head, and tackle levels like any other ordinary hero, but Tim also sports the ability to manipulate time. Yeah, he's a freaking Time Lord. Well, he can't travel forward through time, but he can rewind the flow of time at any point at no cost to you. Accidentally got hurt from a slow-moving enemy? Rewind to the point where you made the mistake. Missed a crucial jump? Rewind and try again. There are no lives in Braid, only mistakes. If at any point you mess up, regardless of the cause or intent, you can simply hold the rewind button down and try again from where you messed up, or even further back to implement a different strategy. So with a mechanic like this, where the hell does one find challenge in a game like Braid? That's where the puzzle pieces come in. Almost every level contains a number of puzzle pieces, and if you want to reach the end of the game, you'll need to collect them all. What's weird is that you don't necessarily need to collect puzzle pieces to complete a level. You're free to enter or exit a level as you please, nothing stopping you from going to the exit without doing anything. But if you're gonna do that, then why'd you buy the game in the first place? Braid is a puzzle platformer. Using your mind to find the correct methods of using your time manipulation powers to grab the puzzle pieces is the name of the game here. Each world in Braid contains a different mechanic that you need to use to your advantage. In one world, the direction you move affects how everything around you flows, so collecting the puzzle pieces is all about planning a specific route so that you don't accidentally undo everything you've done by going back too far. In another world, and one of my personal favorites, you have the ability to conjure up a shadow of yourself that does everything you've previously done prior to a rewind, and collecting puzzle pieces requires you to have your shadow perform one task while you yourself perform another. It's pretty cool stuff. Jonathan Blow designed the game with the intention of players solving each level without using a guide, and while that's something I can respect, there are some levels where I just don't think that philosophy holds up. There's a level called Fickle Companion in World 4 where you have to take this key and travel all over the place with it without losing your hold on it. But as the level name suggests, the key is very fucking fickle indeed. But I don't think the game does a good enough explanation as to why the key is so freaking jittery in the first place. This is where I ended up using a guide for myself, so am I considered a loser for doing so? Don't even get me started on the hidden stars. Did Mr. Blow expect us to find these without a guide too? Well, I imagine someone would in due time, but we're talking about a seriously long fucking time here. I'd imagine if you were the pinnacle of an extremely curious gamer, that you maybe find at least one of these stars by complete fucking accident. But take the hidden star in World 2 for example. See this cloud? When I first saw this cloud, I admit I thought it was a little odd being so close to the end of the level, but I didn't think anything else of it and completed the rest of the level as normal. Did you know that if you waited, 2 hours, the cloud would have actually shifted far enough to get to the cliffside at the beginning of the stage where you can find the hidden star? No, that's because nobody in his or her goddamn life would ever think about waiting 2 hours watching a cloud slowly shift to the opposite end of the stage. Who wasted hours of their lives trying to solve this puzzle without a guide? That poor creature. I won't give away what the hidden stars actually do when you manage to collect them all, but shit like this is dumb. Dumb. Despite that, however, Braid as a whole is a refreshing experience. I don't think it's that original, but with each new gimmick introduced in different worlds, I was kept intrigued the entire way. The art direction is pretty nice too, though there are times where things get a little muddy from a distance. I do admire how fluid Tim is in terms of character animations, and all the right things pop out so that they catch your eyes. I don't know what to say about the music though. I like the music you hear in the first world, and that's about it. I'm not saying the soundtrack's bad, but it didn't stick to my head at all with the exception I mentioned. I'm not even sure if I can consider it atmospheric, as I don't feel the environments were enhanced at all while playing. I would've liked a little more variety too, but I guess I can't complain too much in this department. Can I consider Braid to be worth its $15 price tag? No, probably not, as I've played games that are far more entertaining, longer, and comprehensible for about $10 less, but I do admire how stimulating it was to play Braid. I would love to see more of this sort of thing because there was a large number of levels where I had an absolute blast solving and completing, except Fickle Companion. If you're in the mood to try something different and don't mind shelling out $15 for a few short hours of entertainment, then by all means give it a shot. You may even make something out of the story. Good luck with that though. I'm expecting a lot of these reviews on indie titles to be pretty short, but if anything I think that makes them easier to review. So for the next indie game on the lineup, well, I'm going to let you guys decide. Now hold on a second because I do have some guidelines. 1. It needs to be available on either Steam, Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, or WiiWare. 2. It needs to be an indie game. 3. Do not suggest Minecraft. That'll come later. Yes, I'm ending this series of videos by reviewing Minecraft, but I want to take a look at other things before doing so. The suggestion with the most likes will be the next indie game I'll review, so have at it guys. I'll pick a winner on Monday the 12th. So with all that said, thank you guys for watching and take care.